Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be checking out Superman 78, The Metal Curtain Issue 2 by Robert Venditti and Gavin Guidry. Metallo comes for Superman as the Man of Steel takes Lois to the Fortress of Solitude for the first time, eager to reveal a little bit more about himself and his culture to her and her readers, and also tell her who he really is. This was a fun little sequence that, thanks to the book doing away with everything but the first Donna film, we get to see things a little bit differently, like Lois learning of the Fortress for the first time and learning more about Kryptonian culture in a bit more of a coherent way, since between the Donna card and Lester card of the second film and what was going on in the first film, stuff like that got a little confusing as to what Lois knows, what she doesn't know about what's going on, and it switched between different cuts and everything. And then there's also the very questionable memory wiping kiss that happens at the end of that film, so getting rid of all of that is great, and I'm glad Venditti did away with all of that silly stuff and is going his own way instead of trying to sort all of that out, and it gave him a chance to revisit that plot from the first Superman 78 arc with the bottled cities that Superman saved from Brainiac's ship, allowing Lois to meet Jor-El and Lara properly, and in a really lovely little scene that has some really great heart and humor to it. This is about as far as the book goes with character development though, as the rest of the book is Metallo being unleashed onto the world and baiting Superman out by taking down a spy plane. From this, Venditti just kind of throws us right into it and doesn't give us a minute to collect ourselves, much like Superman, who is battered around the frozen waste outside of the Fortress of Solitude and exposed to a lethal amount of kryptonite. However, Metallo doesn't kill him as he has orders not to, and instead leaves the hero broken and bloody. One interesting thing that Venditti does during this event is stick with the pilot of the spy plane that Metallo attacks, and I think that's on purpose, as we find out the pilot's call sign is Highball, and that's really all we know about the guy, and that is actually Hal Jordan's call sign, and Venditti famously wrote the character of Hal Jordan during his Green Lantern runs quite a fair bit, so I think it's safe to say he just snuck the Donnaverse's first Green Lantern into the book, which is great. And it's a great progression to slowly opening the world up to other heroes outside of Metropolis and Superman's world, and seeing what, a 70s era Green Lantern in the style of the Donnaverse would be like would be really quite cool, and I'm intrigued to see how that's going to go. The real drawback of the issue for me is how kind of bare it is. We get a little bit of character work at the start in the first couple of pages, then it's just all action, but doesn't feel like things are moving forward at a good enough pace, at least for me. Like, just picking up on plots from that first issue, Lois should be running down leads on these military weapons that were being sold by that mysterious colonel who tried to kill her. Clark could get involved in that sort of stuff as both Clark Kent and Superman, and then they could come to the fortress as sort of like, oh, we've got to get away from here because it's not safe, so we'll go to the fortress sort of thing. And we didn't really get any of that sort of stuff, and the book is acting like it's on an ongoing schedule and that has all the time in the world to get these stories out and sort of flesh out and have some time with them all, but it's only a 6-issue miniseries and we are already at the halfway mark, which is kind of worrying. However, I do have faith that Venditti will right the ship, as he is a very skilled and professional writer and he's done so in the past, so I'm looking forward to seeing what he will bring in the remaining 4 issues, and hopefully things will get back on track as of the next issue. Because right now, as I said, it's a little bit bare and not a lot is actually moving forward in terms of plot. Superman's battle with Metallo got off to an explosive start, but for a 6-issue mini, it's taking its sweet time to get into the plot that issue 1 set up really quite well, and only giving us little bits of character development before barreling headfirst into action is probably not the best idea, since you don't really have a lot of time to set any of this sort of stuff up, and this might end up feeling a bit rushed. I'm going to give this issue a 7 out of 10.